All right, you know what I'm saying? So, boom. So let's go ahead and talk some about my boy Gunther today. I've said in the past that I wanted to go ahead and do a little Gunther video. So that's what we're gonna go ahead and get into, right? So this dude Gunther, where even is he? First of all, where is Gunther? This guy, after he loses the world title at SummerSlam, he just fucking disappears, right? Am I wrong? Every time he loses anything, anytime he loses at all, it seems he has to go, I don't know, I guess go searching for his balls somewhere. He has to take a break. He has to go home and fucking wash the dishes and walk his dog and, fucking be a stay-at-home dad for what, a month or 2 months until he can find the courage to come back to work. What is that about, right? Gunther, this guy, first of all, before I get too into the weeds of what we're going to talk about here, is like, what is the deal now with all these people who just seem to disappear after they lose something? Roman loses, he's gone. But I guess he's Roman Reigns, so it happens, right? Brock Lesnar, he loses. We probably won't see his ass for however long, right? But this dude Gunther is not at that level. He's not of the caliber or of the, just star power wise. He's just not the type of person who can just disappear. And we're supposed to be anticipating his return for what reason, bro? I feel like every time this guy he loses to Sami Zayn, he's gone, right? He loses the world title the first time, he's gone. He loses the world title the second time, he's gone. I don't understand what the deal is now with these wrestlers. And I get that it's not like a them thing. It's them. It's just the way that they're being used, right? But from a kayfabe perspective, this dude just gets his ass handed to him. He can't take it, so he has to go and just fuck off for, until he can gather himself, pick himself back up. And I don't accept it. I don't think anyone else should, to be honest, but it doesn't matter because Gunther doesn't draw a dime anyway. And on the topic of Gunther, since that's what we're talking about, right? So at one point in time, I would say at one point in time, I was a fan of Gunther. I'm not going to sit here and act like I never liked the guy. I'm not going to sit here and act like he's complete crap. I think there is something that he does have to offer. I don't really buy into this idea that he's this old school type guy. Just because he looks like crap and wrestles like crap and doesn't have any personality or charisma, that means he's old school. He's old school, bro. Come on, old school to me is like Hogan, Savage, the guys that actually had character. If you want to talk about the 60s and the 70s, the motherfuckers that didn't draw, then yeah, I guess you can say Gunther fits right in with those fucking bland, generic jabronis, right? I guess he fits right in with those type of guys. But, quite frankly, it's not very interesting to watch a guy who's just happy to be there, proud to be a wrestler. This is great sport. He does it, for the love of this great sport. Like, what are you talking about, dude? What are you talking about, man? Come on, give me a break, right? So when he comes into the WWE initially, under the NXT UK banner, by the way, what a fucking disaster of a concept that whole thing was. NXT UK, remember we were supposed to get NXT Japan at some point, I think NXT Mexico. So, that whole thing kind of stopped with NXT UK. So I'm going to go ahead and blame that on Gunther because why not, right? Why not? He was the champion, right? He held the NXT UK title. I thought that was a good fit for him. He was really the only thing worth watching in NXT UK, even though I never watched that shit, not one bit. There's better things to do with my time. But at one point in time, like I had previously mentioned, Gunther wasn't too bad to me. I liked when he was just this big old fat fuck who was unapologetically fat, and he just had no problem throwing his weight around, right? And see, that's the thing. His style worked then, because he is just kind of this sloppy, lackadaisical kind of guy in the ring. He's not smooth. He's not crisp, And I think it worked when he was fat because, he appeared sloppy and he wrestled sloppy, but it didn't matter because his shit still looked like it hurt, right? And he still looked like he wasn't like a Kevin Owens fat where it's like, you could beat his ass if you wanted to, right? Gunther, he's tall and he was fat, but he was able to... He was able to really move that weight in the right ways, so to speak, right? When he chopped you, it was like getting hit with the fucking freight train because, he was able to put his entire 300-pound frame behind those stiff shots, right? Behind, when he would do his big boot where he can barely get his foot off the ground, like at least, he's fat, so you can understand the fact that he can barely get his foot off the ground. But when he's all tall and skinny and slender and he still can't move worth a damn, it's like, first of all, it's unacceptable because, bro, you're not athletic at all for someone who tries to present themselves as this great athlete. You're no more athletic than a fifth grader, on the fucking soccer field at recess, right? And he tries to present himself as this, model for professional wrestler. This is what a wrestler looks like. Is it? I don't think so, right? I don't think so. But him being fat, like I said, it works for him. He is this face of just this. I don't want to say he's good looking, bad looking, whatever, but he does have this face of a guy who he just looks like a mean motherfucker, right? Especially when he was fat. He just looked like a mean motherfucker, right? You know what I mean? The whole the mean German. I mean, it's basically another Kozlov. It's basically another Rusev. He's basically like this big, mean foreign menace type, but with the whole Nazi undertones and things like that. And I thought Imperium worked, to be honest. I liked him and Kaiser and, Vinci. And I remember they used to have Alexander Wolf. To me, Alexander Wolf never really fit. He just looked like a guy, he probably fit as well as I would in fucking Imperium. But, Gunther, he goes to NXT, I guess NXT mainland, right? He goes from Volta to Gunther. I mean, tomato, bro. Everyone made a big deal about it at the time, but I mean, all things considered, at least it's not as stupid as like, I don't know, fucking, remember LA Knight was Eli Drake, right? We've gotten used to LA Knight now, but LA Knight is still a crappy name. Karrion Kross, as opposed to Killer Kross, is a crappy name. Of all the name changes we've gotten, Walter to Gunther, I mean, same shit, right? Same shit. Nothing to be too concerned with there. So he goes on from NXT. Then he has a relatively short run there because he was obviously, destined, I guess, for bigger things on the main roster. So they bring him up. Initially he has to change his name. He has to change his theme music, right? They break up Imperium. Now it's just him and Kaiser. And pretty soon he wins the Intercontinental title in a reign that I don't think was going to last nearly as long if Vince has stayed in power, because I think Vince was smart enough to see that, hey, this guy, he kind of sucks, all things considered. I mean, he is what he is, but if Vince was still in charge, Gunther at this point would be, he'd be fucking a dancing fucking goof. Look what they did to Tenzai. Look what they did to, the Great Khali. Gunther was pretty soon and swiftly going to end up in those line of jabronis as we had seen previously. But, Triple H had to come in. He happened to come in, take over at the right time. It was probably the best thing for Gunther, honestly. And at the time, again, I enjoyed his IC time. I didn't like when he got super skinny. From a human perspective, from a human standpoint, it's like, okay, it's nice that he got in better shape. I want to see him take good care of himself. But, selfishly as a fan, I kind of wish he would have stayed fat. Either stay fat, or if you're going to slim down, I would have expected by now that he would have probably replaced some of that fat with some muscle. He slimmed down, but he failed to pack on any muscle. And I know people like to share that picture of him, where he's goddamn clenching his asshole rather, and just goddamn biting his lip as hard as he can. He's basically just probably right after a pump, just the hardest fucking flex he can possibly make just for that one picture where it looks like he has abs. But if you see him out there on Raw, this motherfucker doesn't have any abs, bro. He has no definition. He has about the same body type as Dominic Mysterio. He just happens to be taller. And it's not as convincing when he's in there with guys like Drew McIntyre and guys like Sheamus. I remember when he wrestled The Miz. He's obviously taller than The Miz, but The Miz is way more muscle. The Miz still looks like he'd kick his ass and he's more athletic. He's more charismatic. He's better on the mic. I mean, we're not even going to get into this whole thing, but that does kind of lead me to the topic of what's so special about this guy, right? What's so special about him? If you ask me, the mystique of Gunther died when he was out there, when he lost to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania 40. After that, he's done, right? He's fucking done. You don't bring in this guy who's supposed to be this big Brock Lesnar level threat, and then he loses to, I don't know, fucking Hardcore Holly or whatever, Spike Dudley or whatever. You know what I mean? It just doesn't work, man. It just doesn't fucking work. And, you know, people are saying they want to see Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. Dude, Brock Lesnar would eat Gunther alive. I mean, come on. You know, there's no sense in even putting those two in the same ring with each other, because it would just be a slap in the face to us all. You know, because our eyes are telling us something different from what they're trying to present to us, right? It's that this guy is some kind of a badass when all I see is a scrub. This dude Gunther, he, like I said, he has no athletic bone in his body. His moves are they just suck, man. They just suck ass. He can't apply his own finishing hold, right? And what kind of finisher is a sleeper hold anyway? That's a move that any goddamn body on the roster in the past 50, 60, 70 years has done for free. And this dude does it as a finisher in 2025. You're this big dude who wrestles like he's Dean Malenko, and even Dean Malenko would at least do a more convincing power bomb than fucking Gunther. This guy has no technical prowess. He's not, you know, people say, oh, he's not pretty to watch, this and that. He's not pretty to watch, bro, because he's just not very good at his job, quite frankly. And again, what's so special about this guy? You can name several other. Why is Drew McIntyre? Why was he not the world heavyweight champion the previous two times that Gunther held the title? McIntyre looks better. You know, he's better looking. He's better on the mic. He's got more charisma. Drew McIntyre is better than Gunther in every way, right? Sheamus, he's older, but he's still better than Gunther in every way. Orton, you can name 50 guys on the right. Even Ludwig Kaiser is better than Gunther, bro. I mean, they're roughly about the same size, but Ludwig Kaiser looks like he's fucking crafted out of stone, right? He's better looking. I mean, you could do a lot more with a Ludwig Kaiser, but Gunther has nothing, man. He has fucking nothing. You know, that's why he has to be champion for a year or whatever, because if he's not champion, what else are you going to do with this guy? You know what I'm saying? It's like, at least if you have someone like Brock Lesnar, it's fun just watching him beat the shit out of whoever, right? Gunther, this dude's not even fun to watch. He's not entertaining. It's not fun to listen to him speak. Like I said, the whole Nazi like, in my opinion, that whole thing kind of died when Imperium split up, because now it's like, you know, how's he going to be the Ring General, but he has no troops, you know what I'm saying? He has no lieutenant. He has no nothing. You know, this guy, he's supposed to command respect, but he looks like an average Joe who's just taller than the average person. And when he comes back, what is he going to do, right? He's not going to go after the world. I mean, if he was going to go after the world title, he should have done it already by now. There's no reason why Jey Uso or LA Knight jumps in front of Gunther in the pecking order. Like, dude, you were just champion, and apparently you don't really care the fact that you lost your title. You're not even going to attempt to try to come back and get it. You know, I mean, where's your balls at, man? Where's your balls, right? Gunther, this dude has nothing to offer, in my opinion. I don't think most people really give a damn about him. I don't know of any Gunther merchandise that sells or that people buy or that anyone wears. I don't really see what the point is of him, quite frankly. He just bores me to death, man. He bores me to death. By now, like I said, you would think he would be in a much higher position. You would think he would feel like a bigger deal than he does. But he just doesn't. I was going to say for whatever reason he doesn't, but I know the reason. He loses to people like Sami Zayn and Jey Uso at fucking WrestleMania, bro. It doesn't matter if he's champion for a year. People remember what happens at WrestleMania. People are going to remember that the longest Intercontinental title reign of all time was ended by Sami Zayn, dude. His first title win ended by Jay Uso, man. It's like, come on, that's fucking pathetic, dude. That's fucking pathetic. And you're out here, he's supposed to be of the upper echelon. He's supposed to be of the CM Punk, Seth Rollins caliber level, whatever. It doesn't make any sense how on the one hand he can beat people like Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is beating Sami Zayn like 10 or 11 times in a row, and then Gunther loses to Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. So what is that about? It's not consistent. His character is not consistent. He's supposed to be this, complete, utter, just Thanos level motherfucker. But then, we've seen him in storylines where he doubts himself or he has confidence problems. He's, supposed to be this snooty, looks down on everyone type of character. But at the same time, he's supposed to be gritty and rough around the edges. It's like, I don't get it. What even is this guy at this point? Do they even know? What even is Gunther? What is he going to come back and do? Who's he going to come back and feud with, right? He has a competitive match, so to speak, with Pat McAfee. And then this guy is supposed to be someone people are afraid of. Why? For what reason? I don't get it. I'm not going to continue to go ahead and beat a dead horse about this. I think you guys kind of already get the gist of how I feel about Gunther. He sucks a dick or two. And in my opinion, if they fired him tomorrow, then nothing will really change to the company's bottom line. He already hasn't been around since SummerSlam, and yet I don't think anyone's noticed. If anything, the show's better off. You know what I'm saying? Because you have one less boring ass segment that you have to sit through. And with that one, I'm going to just go ahead, piece the fuck up out of here and catch you guys in the next one.